Imagine hearing the word coffee and instantly tasting a bitter, earthy flavor on your tongue. Or hearing the name Jessica and feeling the texture of wet velvet. Sound like a superpower? For a tiny fraction of the population, it's not a choice or a metaphor. It's just how the world works. This is a reality of the lexical-gustatory synesthete, where every sound is seasoned. Today on Human Glitch, we're diving into the strange world of lexical-gustatory synesthesia. This is a rare neurological phenomenon where words, written or spoken, trigger involuntary tastes. It's one of the most vivid examples of how our human hardware can be wired in ways we are only beginning to understand. It's a literal bridge between hearing and tasting. Synesthesia isn't a delusion, a hallucination, or an overactive imagination. It's a physical cross-wiring of the senses. Usually, the brain keeps our senses in their own lanes. Sight, sound, and taste stay separate to avoid confusion. But for synesthetes, those lanes merge into a high-speed sensory superhighway where information leaks from one path to another. There are dozens of types of synesthesia, like seeing colors when you hear music, but the taste version is incredibly rare, affecting less than 0.2% of people. For them, language isn't just a tool for communication, it's a full-course meal that they never actually ordered. Every conversation is a tasting menu of nouns, verbs, and adjectives. Every word, name, or concept can trigger a distinct flavor, texture, or even temperature. It's not a vague thought of food, it's a physical sensation on the tongue. Some words taste like honey, others taste like copper, earwax, or even wet cardboard. The brain simply cannot help but fire those taste receptors because the wiring dictates it. Meet James Wannerton, perhaps the world's most famous lexical-gustatory synesthete. For James, the world is a chaotic buffet. The name Brad Pitt tastes like rhubarb. Sir Elton John tastes like a piece of rubber. Every conversation he has is seasoned with a background noise of flavors that most of us will never experience in our entire lives. This isn't a party trick. It's a permanent filter on reality. Imagine trying to have a serious romantic dinner, but every time your partner says your name, you taste cold, soggy toast. It can make social interaction exhausting because you can't turn off the flavor of the words being spoken to you, regardless of how important the topic is. Even basic tasks like navigation become sensory minefields. James Wannerton has famously noted that he avoids certain stops on the London Underground because the names of the stations, like Tottenham Court Road, taste like something he can't stand. He literally chooses his route based on his palate, avoiding the bitter parts of the city. So why does this happen? To find the glitch, we have to look at the brain, specifically the communication between the auditory cortex and the insula. In a typical brain, these regions are neighbors that stay on their side of the fence. They communicate through high-level processing, but they never share their raw, unrefined data. In a synesthete's brain, that fence is broken. When the auditory cortex processes the sound of a word, it accidentally sends a signal to the insula, which is responsible for taste. The brain literally hallucinates a flavor because the neural density is too high for the signal to be contained. It's a literal overflow of electrical information. This isn't something you can learn or develop through practice. Studies suggest it's deeply genetic, a quirk of development in the womb. It's often present from the moment a child starts learning to speak. A toddler might tell their parents that the word blue tastes like an orange, much to the confusion of everyone around them. What's truly fascinating is the consistency rule. If the word street tastes like bacon to a synesthete today, it will taste like bacon 10 years from now. Their internal flavor dictionary is fixed for life. It's a secondary permanent language that runs in parallel to their primary one, never wavering or changing over time. Not all synesthesia is pleasant, though. Some people experience phonetic disgust. Certain sounds or letter combinations might trigger the taste of vomit or bile. This can lead to an irrational dislike of people just because their names taste like garbage. Imagine meeting a Derek and tasting old metallic bin juice every time he says hello. On the flip side, some find it a source of great beauty. They can curate their lives by surrounding themselves with words that taste like chocolate, mint, or fresh rain. It adds a literal richness to literature and poetry that the rest of us will never know. A poem isn't just a sequence of ideas, it becomes a gourmet tasting menu. For centuries, people who claimed to taste words were dismissed as crazy, hysterical, or seeking attention. But with the advent of fMRI scanning, we can finally see it. When a synesthete hears a list of words, their gustatory cortex lights up like a Christmas tree, proving the sensation is physical, measurable, and undeniable. This discovery forces us to ask, what else are we missing? If someone can taste a word, what other glitches are creating entirely different realities for the people standing right next to us? Our definition of normal is just a statistical consensus, not a universal truth of human biology or perception. The lexical-gustatory experience is a reminder that the brain is a master architect. It doesn't just record reality, it builds it from scratch, using whatever signals it receives. And sometimes it gets creative with the blueprints, mixing sound and flavor into a unique human experience that challenges our understanding of the mind. Understanding these glitches helps us empathize with the massive diversity of human life. It reminds us that your neighbor's reality might be flavored in ways you literally cannot imagine. We are all running on slightly different versions of the same software, optimized for different sensory experiences and biological needs. So, what does your name taste like? If you could choose one word to taste like your favorite food, what would it be? Let us know in the comments. We want to hear about your own sensory quirks, whether they involve taste, color, or something entirely unique to your brain. Let's map out the diversity of our collective human experience. If you want to keep exploring the fascinating glitches that make us human, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Respect your wiring. Embrace the glitch. This is Human Glitch. We'll see you in the next one, where we explore another strange frontier of the mind and the secrets hidden in our DNA.